everybody, it is Julie. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a really fun tag for you. It is the Goodreads tag, and this one I decided to do at the beginning of a new year because why not? Let's go over it, shall we? I have a couple stats that I'm going to share with you actually at the end of the video about my Goodreads from last year. I'll share some of my Goodreads stats. But for right now, I'm going to jump into the Goodreads tag, share with you my most recent reads, my ratings, etc., etc. If you use Goodreads and you're not following me already, my link is in the description box down below. Please follow me. I would love to connect with you there. And let's jump right into the questions. If you see me looking over here, it's because that's where my computer is and I'm looking at the questions. So number one is the last book that I marked as read. So the last book that I marked as read was Salt to the Sea by Ebates, and it was phenomenal. It was a 5-star read for me. You'll hear more about it in my wrap-up. If you're interested in my Goodreads review, that's already up. Although I tend to save some of my thoughts for my videos as opposed to putting them all in my Goodreads reviews, but you'll at least get my initial emotional reactions to things. One of my goals this year is to get better about my Goodreads reviews in terms of technicalities of the books and voice, etc., etc. So I'm going to try to perfect my reviewing skills on Goodreads this year, but for right now, that was my first book read this year. I finished that in audiobook today, and it was phenomenal and moving and amazing, and if you haven't read it, I suggest it. It is a historical fiction, which is not normally my genre, but I adored it. What am I currently reading? I'm currently reading multiple books. I am reading the Jim Henson Labyrinth novelization. I'm also reading The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas, because I'm starting my Throat of Glass series this month. Number 3 was the last book that I marked as TBR, and I have to look that up because I'm not sure. So technically the last book that I marked as to be read was the second and third book of the Mistborn trilogy, because for some reason, even though I own them, I hadn't owned them to my to be read list yet. So that's Hero of Ages and Well of Ascension. But technically, if we're talking about books that I don't already own that I wanted to read, that I put on there because of reviews and such, it's Nevernight by Jay Kristoff, because I've read other Amy Kaufman books and I've not read anything else by Jay Kristoff, and I really wanted to, and I've heard decent things about Nevernight. I've actually heard very conflicting things, but I'm interested in finding my own opinions on it. So that's what I last marked as TBR. 4 is what book do I plan to read next. After The Assassin's Blade, I will be moving right to Throne of Glass, and then all of the books after that, I'll just be following them in order. That's my coming TBR. Number 5, do I use the 5-star rating? Yes, I do. However, one of my goals for this year is to really perfect my 5-star rating. I feel like I give a lot of 4s for books that I'm just okay about. I really want to move those down to 3s because that's what they should be. So I want to really get better about my rating scale in 2017. I do use it. I don't do half stars. I do full stars. So I just really need to kind of define for myself what that means and then really stick to it. So determine for myself what makes each of those a specific rating and then just go with it. So I'm going to try to get better about this year because I felt like I've wanted to go back and downgrade a lot of books. Like I was too generous with them. But every time I do that, it alerts everybody and then everybody starts liking it on like a really old review. So I'm trying to do that from the get-go. It's just be better about my ratings. Number 6 is, are you doing the reading challenge? Yes, I am. And again, my reading challenge is set at 100. I'm hoping I can do that this year. I have high hopes for it. I hope to exceed that, but we'll see. Do I have a wish list? I'm assuming that's for Amazon and not for Goodreads, so I don't know why it's on the Goodreads tag, but no, I don't have an Amazon wish list. What book do I plan to buy next? And the answer is none. I set as part of my 2017 goals not buying any more books until I have under 20 books unread on my TBR shelves. I will have an unread books or TBR list coming soon because personally I need to catalog those books so I have a better idea of what really needs to be read in my collection. And I did, right after the holidays, before 2017 started, place a couple of book orders, and a couple of those were for pre-orders for History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera, as well as Winter Song, which is a Labyrinth retelling or continuation that comes out in February or March. So I've pre-ordered a couple books and placed a couple of orders, so I don't anticipate buying anytime soon until I really get these shelves down to a manageable level. I say that a lot, but none that I know of right now. The next one is, do you have any favorite quotes and would you like to share a few? The answer is yes, absolutely. I have one hanging up right here, and it is Words are, in my not so humble opinion, our most inexhaustible source of magic. That is by Dumbledore, obviously from J.K. Rowling. I love that as a writer. It's just a beautiful quote. Some of my other favorite quotes are like all around me in bookmarks, so let me tell you a few. For the girls with messy hair and thirsty hearts, I love that one. I also love In Dreams We Enter a World That Is All Our Own by J.K. Rowling, or entirely our own. This is for Throne of Glass. You could rattle the stars, she whispered. You could do anything if only you dared, and deep down you know it too. That's what scares you most. So I love this quote. I actually have a frame that I'm going to put this in because I adore it so, so much. So that is one of my favorite quotes, and I cannot wait to read the book and finally get to that point because I love it. So those are a couple of my favorites. 10, who are my favorite authors? My favorite authors vary, you know, depending, but I love Tolkien, obviously. I love Kim Harrison a lot. Hoping Sarah J. Maas gets added to that. Leigh Bardugo is definitely on that list though. I've only read 2 of her books. The Grisha trilogy is on a TBR for 2017, but yeah, I want to read more by her, but I love her writing so far. Have I joined any groups? I have joined some groups. Let me see if I can pull them up for you. So I joined Top 5 Wednesday, which I really enjoy. That gives you prompts for Wednesday videos. I haven't loved the ones for January, so I don't know if I'm going to be doing them for January, but I did join that group. I also have Crazy for Young Adult Books. I have Lovers of Paranormal, support for indie authors because I'm an indie author. I have Goodreads Authors and Readers because, again, I'm a Goodreads author and reader. The Tome Topple Readathon group, the Young Adult Book Club group, the Reading Rebels group, the Owl Crate Book Club, also in the Not So Young YA Book Club because I'm not so young and also love YA. Those are my groups. So that's everything. The last question in this is there a question that you would like to add to the list? Now, there's not really a question I want to add to the list, but I do want to give you some of my 2016 stats because I was really intrigued by them and I figured I would go over some of them with you. Just the ones that were given out on Goodreads. I shared it on Twitter and Facebook and whatnot, but I figured I'd let you know my breakdown. I haven't done a full stat breakdown in terms of genre and male, female authors, etc., like a lot of people have done. I read a total of 107 books in 2016, and that equaled 40,415 pages. Not bad, I don't think, for A, my first year on Goodreads, B, my first year as a booktuber, and C, I really only started getting super into reading in June. Now, I did back catalog things that I had read in 2016, but really only started hardcore reading in like June, July, so I'm pretty impressed with those results. My shortest book was The Grown Up by Gillian Flynn. Not a fan. That was 64 pages. The longest book that I read this year was Winter by Marissa Meyer, and that was 832 pages. Although technically, if you count me finishing A Dance with Dragons, it would have been more than that. However, because I only finished the last like 90 pages, I didn't count that for Goodreads for this year. So my average length was 388 pages for a book. So that's not bad. I anticipate that being a little bit skewed this year because I do want to start adding in some graphic novels and some classics like Alice in Wonderland, Time Machine. There's just some shorter books that I want to read this year. So that may change this year, but who knows? So average of 388 pages a book, not too bad. So those are just a couple little tiny stats for you. And I figured I would throw that in at the end of this video, but that has been my Goodreads tag. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any Goodreads stats from your year in review that they put up, do leave them down below. I'm super interested to see what everybody's were. I hope you liked this video. If you did, be sure to give me a big old thumbs up, click subscribe, and I will see all of you in my next video. Bye guys.